And it's official. Babar Azam has stepped down from his role as Pakistan's captain. It's a brave decision, and we hope it will help revitalize his batting. For a complete analysis on Babar's reign as captain, do make sure to check out our cricket tape on that topic. The question now, though, is who will be captaining Pakistan's ODI side come February 2025? With the Champions Trophy just under 6 months away, Pakistan are scheduled to play 11 ODIs against the likes of Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand in order to prepare for the first ICC tournament to be hosted in Pakistan in almost 3 decades. In today's cricket tape, we explore the top candidates that can replace Babar Azam as skipper. To try and make this list as objective as possible, we're going to rank all the contenders against 4 key criteria, namely their captaincy record, style of captaincy, current form, and longevity. We will score each of these criteria out of 5 to have a final score out of 20. Let's get right to it. Number 5, Fakhar Zaman. Somewhat of a dark horse in the captaincy race, Fakhar's name was actually thrown into the ring by former T20 World Cup winning captain Yunus Khan. Let's see how he ranks. Fakhar's domestic captaincy record is the weakest out of all the candidates on this list, with only 5 matches as captain for Lahore Qalandars back in the 2019 edition of the PSL. His 1 win in those matches is the same as the ranking we'll give him for this criteria. And with such a small sample size, Fakhar's captaincy style is more about what it could be rather than what it is. On paper, Fakhar is a team player who has selflessly shuffled across the order throughout his career. He's also a proven match winner, perhaps the greatest Pakistan have had since Shaheen Afridi. And it's speculated that his aggressive batting approach would translate to an aggressive brand of cricket under his captaincy. And while that might sound good in theory, we don't have enough of a sample size to give Fakhar more than a 2 in this category. Moving on to current form, Fakhar endured a horror campaign in the 2024 World Cup that saw him average just 8 runs across 4 matches. But since ODIs are the format in question, he did win 2 crucial back-to-back matches for Pakistan in the 2023 World Cup against Bangladesh and New Zealand, the latter of which was the highlight of Pakistan's underwhelming campaign. He's very much a big match player, but he can be inconsistent, scoring 3 centuries in a row before failing to cross 33 for the next 11 games. We'll give Fakhar a 3.5 for current form just for that innings against New Zealand. And finally, we have longevity. Now, Fakhar is 34. If Pakistan were to appoint a new white ball captain, they would keep one eye on the future and he would be 37 by the time of the next 50-over World Cup. He's also struggled on and off with injuries, and while this isn't ideal, to his credit, he is one of the fitter players in the side, so we'll give him a 2.5 on this metric. That gives Fakhar a total score of 9 out of 20. Number 4, Shan Masood. Now, unlike the other contenders on this list, Shan Masood is the only one without an automatic starting position in the limited over side. In fact, he played no part in the last 2 white ball World Cups. That being said, Masood does have some impressive credentials as captain, taking South Punjab from a bottom of the table side to the final of the National T20 Cup in 2020, and also topping the table with Multan Sultans in the PSL in the same year before COVID struck. What makes these achievements impressive is that both of these teams were considered to be weak and made up of players rejected by the other sides. He also repeated this feat in county cricket with Derbyshire, taking them from the bottom of the table to a respectable mid-table finish. This was impressive enough for him to sign a contract to captain Yorkshire, where he even captained England players like Johnny Bairstow and Joe Root, although he was less successful in the limited over tournaments. Still, even though gold has eluded him, we think Masood's achievements transforming struggling teams are impressive enough to earn him a 3.5. His captaincy style too is calculated and positive. He backs his players and is probably helped by the fact that he is the most highly educated candidate on this list, holding a degree in economics from the University of Durham, in addition to also studying management and sports science. However, his brief reign as captain of the Test side has been off to a horror start, with early signs of promise against Australia wiped out by a first ever clean sweep at home against Bangladesh. And that can only earn him a 3 on this metric. Where Shan's case really falters is his current form. Inconsistency has plagued Shan throughout his career, and his middling averages across formats are a reflection of a player who has never really been able to cement his place in the limited over side. He did top score for Pakistan in losing causes against India, Zimbabwe, and in the final against England at the 2022 T20 World Cup, but his most recent ODI series in 2023 against New Zealand saw him average just 13 across 4 matches with the World Cup spot up for grabs. That will earn Shan just a 2 on this metric. Age too isn't going to be kind to Shan, given that he's almost 35 and will be 38 by the time of the next 50-over World Cup. That being said, he is one of the fittest members of the team, and that earns him a 3 on this metric. This brings Shan's grand total to 11.5 using our scoring system. Number 3, Shaheen Afridi. Shaheen had one of the most public captaincy fallouts in recent memory, but before that, his stock had been on the rise as a result of his incredible success as captain of Lahore Qalandars. In his very first season, Shaheen led the Lahore Qalandars to their first ever title in the 7th season of the PSL. And if anyone thought that was a fluke, he would repeat the feat the next season to become a 2-time PSL winning captain at the age of just 23. The subsequent 4-1 loss to New Zealand in his first and only series as captain before he was sacked, and a last place finish in the 2024 PSL season have taken the shine off of his initial success. But we think his record is still strong enough to earn him a 3.5 out of 5. His captaincy style is similar to Shadab's in terms of aggression and a desire to lead from the front, with his crowning achievement coming in the 2023 final of the PSL, where he smashed 44 of 15 deliveries and even went on to pick up 4 wickets. However, Shaheen is much more impulsive, especially with his reviews, and still displays signs of immaturity in his decision-making, which might have been masked at the PSL level through the presence of senior figures such as David Wisa. And a recent example of this impulsiveness was his decision of coming out to bat on one leg in an inconsequential match of the Champions Cup. It's fair to say that Shaheen as captain is still a work in progress and can sometimes look lost in the field, so we will give him a 2.5 on this metric. Recent form has also been a bit of a mixed bag for Shaheen. While he was Pakistan's highest wicket taker at the 2023 World Cup, he failed to pick up his trademark early wickets and also earned the unwanted record of most runs conceded by a Pakistani bowler in a World Cup match. He also wasn't at his best in the 2024 T20 World Cup, picking up the least wickets out of the 4 pacers. The lingering concern is that the post-injury Shaheen hasn't been able to hit the same heights, and so we can't give the Eagle more than 3 on this metric. And while he is just 24, Shaheen's injury troubles and the subsequent dip in his pace and effectiveness mean that his career longevity is more of a question mark, due to which he'll earn 3.5. This earns Shaheen a grand total of 12 using our scoring system. Number 2, Shadab Khan. Before his fall from grace in the last few tournaments, Shadab had been earmarked as a future captain for much of his career, even holding the vice-captaincy for several years. And he staked his claim by taking Islamabad United to PSL glory in the latest edition, as well as following up with a victory in the Champions Cup. He does also boast one of the most impressive PSL captaincy records amongst his peers. However, his 2 stints as captain of the national side haven't gone as well, with series losses to New Zealand and Afghanistan, which lands him a score of 3.5 out of 5. Being part of Islamabad United since the start, though, has honed Shadab's tactical acumen, since the franchise was one of the pioneers in using data and playing a modern, aggressive brand of T20 cricket. Shadab as a captain is proactive and desires to lead from the front, evidenced by his push up the order, where he has developed into a capable T20 batsman, often slotting in at number 3. His fielding and general fitness are also amongst the best in the side. This earns him a 4 for style of captaincy. Recent form, however, has not been kind to Shadab, especially on the bowling front. A horror showing at the 2023 World Cup, where he could only pick up 2 wickets, was followed by the ultimate humiliation of a wicketless 2024 World Cup. And while he was the highest wicket taker of the Lanka Premier League earlier this year, he couldn't impress with the ball in the Champions Cup despite averaging 40 with the bat. That will earn him a 2.5 on this metric. Age, however, is definitely on Shadab's side. At just 25, he already has been playing at the top level for 7 years and has plenty of time to bounce back from this recent dip in form. While he has been hampered by a recurring groin injury, Shadab still gets a 4 for longevity. So Shadab earns himself a 14 on our captaincy scale, comfortably the highest score so far, despite his recent fall from grace. Number 1. Mohd Rizwan. From a domestic captaincy standpoint, there is probably no one more consistent than Mohd Rizwan. Since winning the National T20 Cup with KPK in 2020, Rizwan would go on to lead Multan Sultans in their first and only PSL victory in 2021. Although with some luck, he could have added to that tally by now, emerging as the losing finalist in the last 3 PSL editions. He also boasts the best PSL captaincy record by a mile among his peers both past and present, and that incredible consistency earns Rizwan a 4.5 on this metric. And this incredible record is very much a testament to Rizwan's captaincy style. Despite never having a star-studded team, he has managed to develop players that have gone on to dominate the bowling charts, including Muhammad Ali, Ehsanullah, Abbas Afridi, Shahnawaz Dahani, and Osama Mir, amongst others. He can be seen guiding his players and proactively setting the field, all while maintaining his cool in an extremely calm and composed fashion. He also leads from the front, regularly featuring as the team's top run getter, which earns him another 4.5 for captaincy style. And while his current form has not been at the high levels he has set earlier, with a strike rate in recent times a question mark, he did still end the last 2 World Cup campaigns as Pakistan's highest and second highest run scorer, which also included a brilliant unbeaten century in the highest ever chase in a World Cup. He was also Pakistan's top scorer against Bangladesh, further solidifying his reputation as Pakistan's new Mr. Dependable, and that's enough to earn him a 4 in this category. And while he is 32, Rizwan's fitness is unquestionable as is his place in the side, and we can expect to see him playing to the next World Cup, where he would be 35. This earns him a 3.5 on this metric too. And with that, Rizwan's total is a whopping 16.5 on our captaincy ranking system. Let's take a final look at how the table is shaping up. Mohd Rizwan is a clear winner according to our captaincy index, but do you agree with our assessment? Let us know in the comments. And as always, we'll see you next time with more cricket tapes.